story starts even before my birth. In 1971, in the country of Bangladesh, there was a war of independence. In 9 short months, 3 million Bangladeshis were slaughtered. That level of atrocity was only possible because of US-made weapons. I lost family members in that war. Folks who were alive in 1971 in the United States, they did not directly benefit from it, but they paid for it, and the weapons manufacturers profited from it. My father was in the military. He helped liberate Bangladesh. He became a war hero. Unfortunately, 10 years later, in 1981, my father, Major General Muhammad Abdul Manzoor, was assassinated. My mother, my siblings, and I were arrested. I was only 7 years old. We faced years of political persecution in Bangladesh, and my mother kept saying the only country in the world where we could seek refuge was the United States. And that's one of the greatest paradoxes. The kindness and generosity of the American people and the failed policies of the American government. So we moved to the United States, we applied for political asylum, we found safety here. But like many working class families, we were struggling to survive on minimum wage. Back then, minimum wage was $4.25 an hour. I worked 7 days a week, multiple jobs, just to pay rent. Whatever was left over was for food. We did not have health care. Like millions of Americans, we did not have access to health care. Unfortunately, my mother and my sister both had chronic illnesses, and going years without access to health care had a profound impact on their lives, and they both died young. And that is not an unusual story. In the richest country in the world, we're losing 15,000 Americans each year from lack of health insurance or underinsurance. So my friends, trust me when I tell you that I'm fighting for livable wages, affordable housing, Medicare for all, and a foreign policy based on national interest and national security and not the whims of war profiteers. Because I don't want any other families to suffer in my family has. I was grateful that I was able to finish my education. I got a PhD in biochemistry, molecular biology, and then I worked in medical research for about 20 years. I loved being a scientist. Every day, it didn't matter if it was a 10-hour day, 12-hour day, I just loved it because it was allowing me to help improve people's lives, people who are very ill, just to be able to help them. Several years ago, I started to get very disheartened to see people in my town of Exeter, people in Epping, and other places that I was traveling to, they sleep in their cars. These are people who have jobs, but they have to sleep in their cars because they cannot afford housing. They put up a t-shirt to close out the windows in the richest country in the world. So I started getting involved with the nonprofit sector for the last 7 years. I'm involved with 3 nonprofits here in New Hampshire. One is called Ranked Choice Voting, because we're trying to bring that wonderful piece of legislation to New Hampshire. The other is Open Democracy Action. We're trying to get big money out of politics. And the third is Peace Action, because this war economy is hurting our communities. It's causing massive death and destruction across the world, and it's destroying our planet. And I was happy being volunteering in the nonprofit sector, and I was happy being a scientist, but I still kept seeing so much suffering. So I'm running for the United States Senate for several reasons, but I'm going to highlight 3 defining reasons. One, we need a minimum wage that actually makes sense. Since 2009, our minimum wage hasn't increased. It's still stuck at $7.25 an hour. A state like ours, we don't have a state minimum wage, so we default to the federal minimum wage. It's unconscionable that the minimum wage is so low. And when the minimum wage is low, all the wages are low. We need to increase it to a livable wage, and we should start at least $20 an hour. It's high time that we increase the minimum wage to a livable wage. So that's one reason I'm running. The number 2 is we need affordable housing in this state. I know people who work multiple jobs, like I told you, they don't have a place to stay. Sometimes they're renting apartments with the other people. Sometimes they don't even have enough bedrooms. So they have to sleep in closets or in the corner of a room. We need to build affordable housing, and the federal government is absolutely capable of providing adequate funding to HUD, Housing and Urban Development, and start supporting workforce housing as well as affordable housing. And we need to get private equity out of the housing market. Single-family homes belong to single families, not Wall Street. And that is really hurting our communities. And the third reason I'm running is Medicare for all. We need universal health care in this country. Of the 33 developed nations, 32 provide universal health coverage. Only we don't. It's not because we don't have the resources. We are the richest country in the world. It's just a lack of priority. So livable wages, affordable housing, and Medicare for all. But why don't we have these common sense solutions? Why? Because too many members of our Congress are answering to their donors and not to the people. It's unconscionable what's happening. They take money from corporate PACs, super PACs, APAC, foreign lobbies, and that is really hurting our communities. Because the people in Congress are not answering to the American people, they're answering to the donors. So if I had to summarize all that's happening in this country, in this world, into 3 different chunks, I'm going to say wealth inequality is a huge problem right now. Wealth inequality. We actually have a 2-tier economic system at the moment. A few people hold billions of dollars, actually trillions of dollars in assets, and many of us can't even pay for our mortgage, are struggling to pay for gas, groceries. It's unconscionable. The middle class has disappeared in this country. We have to take this seriously. So we have to get rid of this wealth inequality. And again, the federal minimum wage, stopping stock buybacks, there's so many ways we can help the workers, and we have to stop the exploitation. The second big problem is the climate crisis. We're looking at a 3-degree average increase in global temperature over the next 50 years. Many of us will be gone. Those kids are going to be around. My 17-year-old who cannot vote will be around. These kids can't vote, but they're going to inherit a planet that's burning. And it's our job to care. Care for, because it's the right thing to do, but also care for our future generations. And the third big thing is what I just said, money in politics. Money in politics is it's the greatest threat to our democracy. And we're seeing this everywhere. There's blatant corruption going on by Donald Trump and his family. But members of our Congress own stocks in companies that they regulate. In any other industry, it would be considered insider trading and you would go to jail. And yet, in Congress, it's openly being done. I looked at the top 20 investors from Congress who own stocks in the weapons manufacturers. Of the top 29 were Democrats, 11 were Republicans. It's a bipartisan failure. We have to get rid of this wealth inequality. We have to build up the middle class. And we can do this, but we need members of Congress who actually care, who are not beholden to their donors. We have to take this climate crisis seriously. We have to reverse the course. There's only one planet. The human species only can survive on this planet. There is no planet B. We have no choice. We have to save our planet. And we have to get rid of big money in politics. So my friends, that is who I am. Not taking a single cent from corporate PAC, super PAC, APAC, so that you will be confident that as your next senator from New Hampshire, that when you see my vote, you will know that it was not for any corporation. It was because it was going to improve your lives. And that is how I voted. And you can always trust my vote. And I will always talk to you. I will always be available because I want to be a true public servant serving the people of New Hampshire. So thank you so much. And thank you for being here.